and welcome to the Retro Seller, where in today's episode we'll be covering another one of these Chinese handhelds, this one known as the XY-09. It's basically a clone of an Aya Neo Mini. I'll show it here in case you're unfamiliar with what it looks like, and it's similar in form factor. It has a 5.1 inch 16.9 aspect ratio HD screen. It's a nice size. Has HDMI output. Has 8 gigs of memory. It's rocking an ATM 7059 quad-core processor. Supposedly supports MAME, CPS-1, NES, Super Famicom, Sega Mega Drive, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and PlayStation 1. Like most of these cheaper handhelds or the consoles that I've shown, that's always going to be a mixed bag. I got this on AliExpress for about $43.99. There's lots of stores on AliExpress that sell this thing. You just have to search for the cheapest one, but they're all somewhere in that neighborhood. I know there's a couple sites outside of AliExpress that have it, but there's a ton of them there. So other than that, why don't we do our usual unboxing of this thing to see what comes with it, and we'll see if this is something that you're interested in adding to your collection. Okay, here we have the XY-09 game player. Here's the box. It's a nice solid box, plain as a lot of these are, but at least it's a solid one. As far as what's on the box, just a little bit on the back. Basically goes over what I had already discussed about the screen, usual stuff. It has USB 3.0 high-speed transmission. I also believe, as it says here, support 2.4G wireless transmission handle, so you can actually basically plug this into your TV, hook up a wireless controller to it, and use it as a console and play it with a two-player mode. It has like music playing, video playing, all that stuff that you'll probably never use it for. Obviously, it's going to be used for video games. Other thing it says here about it supports 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit, and 128-bit arcade games. I think these are stretching it here, but you're pretty much going to get maybe 32-bit and below. But without further ado, why don't we open this puppy up? And here is the console. We'll look at that shortly. And underneath, you'll get the USB-C cable used to charge and transfer data. You get one of these super duper cheap earbuds that'll probably cut your ears open if you use it, and they most likely sound like crap as well. And the manual for the XY-09, it's an okay manual. This side's obviously in Chinese, this side's in English, and it's really basic as far as the function is concerned. You could pretty much figure it out just by turning it on and playing it. It's not that difficult. So why don't we take off this little screen protector. That's always very satisfying. So why don't we just take a look around. You'll see it has a decent little D-pad on it. Hopefully it's responsive. It's actually in a good spot. Normally I prefer the D-pad up top and the analog stick down below, just because I prefer to use this for most of the retro games. But it's not in a weird spot, and it feels alright. We have a Nintendo Switch style analog stick. It is pretty decent quality, clickable as well. You have minus and plus buttons, which are your volume control. Your ABXY buttons. They have decent travel to them. They're not too noisy. You have an escape button, a select button, a start button here. I believe also this little hole here is where the microphone is if you want to use this for recording audio. I don't know why. Really nothing on the bottom or the sides. And on the top, we have L1 and L2, R1 and R2. They're a little clicky, but they're not too bad. They're in a good position. You have your HDMI out, your audio out, your USB-C, a little teeny tiny reset button there. You gotta stick a pin in there to turn it on or reset it. Your SD card is here, your power button, and the aforementioned USB 3.0 port that you can use for an additional controller. On the back of it, this is actually pretty neat. You have a little stand, a little kickstand for it, in case you want to hook up that wireless controller and use it as a two-player system. Now, as far as the build quality is concerned, I've seen a couple other reviews out there which were concerning for me because some of the people I saw that received it, it wasn't properly assembled, where there were gaps in the outer shell and was very loose all over. This one, fortunately for me, was assembled properly, and the build quality, as far as the plastic, it's not too bad. It's got a little heft to it, but for its size, it's a little bit on the light side, but it's substantial enough that it doesn't feel cheap. I really like the shape of it. As you can see, it's kind of ergonomic, and it's pretty easy to hold. But doesn't feel like you would get too much hand fatigue with the way it's designed. And then really, it's a really good size screen. So why don't we power this puppy on and take a look around the system and maybe play a couple games and call it a day. So after turning it on and booting it up, this is what the menu looks like. What I like about it is that you have these the buttons actually light up. So that's kind of a neat thing. And here's your LED indicator that it's on. And so the main menu looks like this, where you can change your theme, play video, music, look at pictures, ebook, like you're going to use all that. This is where your games are. A dictionary, I looked in it, you could do, there's a Chinese dictionary, Chinese to English, so if you want to learn a new language, sort of, that option is there. This browser here, they've obviously stolen the Internet Explorer logo, very naughty, but that's basically to look around at your files on the system. Here's where the settings are, where you can do things like adjust the language, date and time, your display settings, which would be like the backlight time. Oh, that's 15 seconds. We can't do that. Let's do 10 minutes. And sleep time. Let's go back. Advanced things where you can do set up the keytones, keyboard mapping, which is nice to have. Format the internal memory, don't want to do that, or the card. There's where you do a system reset. Don't do that, people. And let's go back. So why don't we click on this? And there's a very small handful of games on here that are actually here in built-in game. The internal memory, that one's actually empty. External memory, which is the SD card. This one basically didn't really have much there, so I actually inserted my own card and have my own games on it. So why don't we, yeah, see, that time's out too quick. All right, external memory. Here's where the games are. So here's the systems: CPS, Final Burn Alpha, Famicom, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Mega Drive, Neo Geo, PlayStation 1, Super Famicom, and that's it. I don't believe I mentioned it before about the Final Burn Alpha or the Neo Geo. Nevertheless, they are on here. So without further ado, let's just play a couple games from each of these systems to see how they play. Why don't we start off with CPS and see what how they play on here. As you can hear, the volume is actually pretty good on it. The analog stick is also not too bad. So if you want to get out of a game, just hit the escape button and it brings you up to this screen where you can restart the game, save the game, load a game, return to the game, or exit, which we will do that. As you can see, the screen's not too bad. It's nice and bright. The viewing angles are pretty decent. Can't really say if it's IPS, but it's one of the better screens out there. Boom, these bad boys. Nice vibrant colors. As I said, the audio is pretty good on it. The unfortunate thing about this system is that you cannot change the aspect ratio. So as you look here at the Game Boy, it's stretched and squashed a little bit. So that's kind of unfortunate. Take that. Oi! So unfortunately, with the way it's squashed, it's a little bit pixelated. seems to be running very well. It's such a stupid game, though. Oh, you better run away from Michael, kids. Get out of here. Michael doesn't like girls. Run away, little girl.
There's the kickoff starting the first quarter. First down.
Anybody read Japanese? Sound seems a little weird on it. Ooh. That was nice. Anyway, that PlayStation game seems to run okay. They're going to be very limited. Like a lot of 3D games aren't going to work on it. So it'll be a mixed bag. Other than that, I'm actually kind of impressed with this. But I guess that'll do it for our look at the XY-09. So let's wrap this video up. Well, that should do it for our look at the XY-09 handheld game console straight out of China. So I actually like this thing. In my opinion, I would recommend it if you're into collecting handhelds. This is a pretty decent one. Feels good in the hand. Plays almost all the systems pretty well without any glitches or frame drops that I noticed. PlayStation 1 is going to be iffy on it, as I said, as it is with most of these lower end consoles. 2D games should run good on it. 3D games will probably be a little iffy. Audio will probably glitch. There'll probably be frame drops and whatnot. But other than that, for what's on it, it plays really good. I love the form factor. I love the size of the screen, the quality of the screen. The buttons are great and responsive. So, like I said, I would recommend it. Other than that, there's really not much more I can say about it. I know I have some other stuff from the pipeline over the last couple months where I wasn't making videos. I was buying a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of things I've lined up. Probably like at least 10 to 15 more videos worth of stuff. Just got to find the time to do them. But other than that, that'll do it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.